Hi, welcome to your weekly workout. This program is designed to help adults meet the physical activity guidelines of 150 minutes per week of moderate to vigorous physical activity. It'll help you stay strong, feel better, and increase your overall health and endurance. As with any activity, please speak to your doctor or healthcare provider if you have any concerns about your specific medical condition and how being active may affect it. This program was created for you to be able to do in your own home with and without some basic exercise equipment. For this workout, you'll need a chair, some tubing, hand weights, or cans of food with a reusable grocery bag, and your bed or a mat for the floor. My name is BABB, and I'm a clinical exercise physiologist. Welcome to your weekly workout. Welcome back. This exercise series is designed to encourage individuals to complete a strength-based workout 2 to 4 times per week. Part of the exercise plan is also for you to accumulate some aerobic exercise every day. Usually we encourage about 10 to 30 minutes per day with the goal to accumulate your 150 minutes of aerobic activity every week. I'm going to demonstrate the exercise videos after this so you can follow along with those. There should also be a handout that you can download that will have a list of all of the exercises attached to it so that you can have a paper copy to print out if you like for when you do this workout 2 to 4 times a week. There's an optional midweek check-in we do through video chat line. You can register for this by calling the Edmonton South Side Primary Care Network. And essentially when you're doing your workouts, you should aim for a medium amount of work, take some breaks when you need to, and stop if you feel any pain during any part of the movement or exercise that you're doing. Make sure you got your water nearby, and let's get started. Our first exercise is called the sit to stand. So for this, you're going to need a chair. It's better if you have a sturdy chair with no wheels, something that's not going to move around on you and it can handle your body weight. If you know that you're going to need some help getting up and down from a chair, then you can get one that's got some armrests on it. This one doesn't have any, but if you have a dining room chair at home, then that could work as well. The idea of the exercise is you're going to sit in the middle of your seat. So you don't want to be laying back against the backrest. You want to have a bit of space here. Bum should be comfortable. Feet are going to be in front of you at about hip width or shoulder width. And then you can do this with your arms crossed if you don't need that arm support, or you're welcome to use your armrest if you need it. It's basically what the name suggests, sit to stand. So you're going to stand up, sit back down, and you're going to repeat that 10 times in a row. This next exercise is called the 3-direction hip raise. So essentially you need something to stabilize on. So you've got your chair. You could use a treadmill or a wall or anything else. Even a doorknob would help keep your balance. For this exercise, we're going to use our outside leg from whatever we're hanging on to. The idea is to stand tall. You're going to keep your legs straight and you're going to bring one leg out in front as high as you comfortably can and then bring it back down. You go out to the side, whoops, and backwards. Those are the 3 directions. So you're coming in front, out to the side, and backwards. The key component is you want to stay tall, especially when you go backwards. There's a tendency to want to lean into it. Don't do that. Just stay tall. We're working on keeping our trunk strong. So it's hip flexion in front, out to the side, and backwards. If this is easy for you, then when you come back together, don't touch the ground here. Keep your foot off the ground, but you still have to bring it towards the other leg again. After you do between 5 to 10 of these, you're going to switch. So the chair will go to the other side, and then you will work on your opposite leg. For this exercise, we're going to need a little bit of exercise equipment. So if you have a piece of tubing whatever color you have, whether it's tubing or a resistance band like this. What we can do is, it would go underneath your feet, shoulder width. Your hands face back towards your thighs at about shoulder width or so. You're going to stand nice and tall, and you draw your hands up in front of you, keeping your elbows above your hands, and back down. This is what we would call an upright row, staying as tall as you can, bringing your elbows up. If you don't have one of these, some people will use a reusable grocery bag, and then you can put in cans of food that you might have in your home. That'll provide some weight. You can add 2, 3, however many you like. I've got some pasta here, we'll throw that in the bag. And so the more you put in, the heavier it gets. And so for this one, you're just going to hang on to them, again, with your hands close to hip width apart, standing tall with your chin up, and then we're going to draw our hands up to our chin or our collarbone, keeping those elbows up nice and high. It'll come back down in front of us, back up, and back down. If you have some hand weights at home, then that's an easy solution. All you'll do is grab the hand weights, same movement, but you usually will touch the weights together in front of you, and then draw it up and back down. As you're doing it, you're going to notice that they don't rub up against your front, but there's just a tiny little bit of space, and then back down. And that's the upright row. For our bicep curls, or arm exercise, we're going to take a band again. It goes underneath your feet. Grip is going to be with your palms forward, and you're going to pin your elbows kind of into your side. So if you imagine that you've got a face cloth here, I usually suggest imagine you've got a $100 bill tucked under your armpit, and if you move your elbow out at all, it's going to flutter down to the floor. And so when we do these exercises together, if I catch any imaginary $100 bills, I'm obviously a happy guy. So we want to try and keep that nice and tight. You can do both arms at the same time if you like, or one arm at a time, pinning your elbows and then drawing your hands up and back down. Usually we want people to try and keep their palms forward. If that's a bit too challenging for you, or you find that it bothers your elbow or anything, you can turn your thumbs forward, kind of like the fawns, and then bring it up and back down that way. That'll usually make it a little bit easier for you. Just make sure that you're keeping your elbow pinned in by your side. Same as before. If you don't have any tubing or bands, you're welcome to use that reusable grocery bag. In there, we've got our weighted things, so pasta or cans of soup. If you don't have one of these, but you have some old milk jugs, you can use that, fill it with water, and then it's the same kind of position. So your arm would be by your side. You're going to curl it up and back down. And so you'll notice that my elbow is staying in one place. It's just my forearm that's rotating up and around. If you have your hand weights, obviously you would just use that with your hand weights, and you can choose to do one arm or two arms at the same time. So that is your bicep curl. For our push-ups, there are many different ways you can do them. We're going to start with push-ups against the wall. So my wall is right here. The closer you stand to the wall, the easier it's going to be for you. So what you're going to want to do is probably set yourself up so that you're about arm distance away from the wall. Your hands are going to go straight out from about your shoulder height, straight out. If you feel comfortable, you can drop them just a little bit. They shouldn't be higher than that. And then you're just going to lean into the wall until your nose almost touches, and then push yourself back out. These are our starting position for wall push-ups. If you'd like to make it more challenging, then you're going to walk your feet back a little bit so that you're leaning into the wall a bit more. As you come forward, it's just going to put a little more weight on your hands. So that's how you can make this one harder. To make it a little more challenging above that, that's when you would get onto your bed or the floor. You can do your push-ups off of your knees, and after that you would move on to your toes. These next 3 exercises are our core strength or trunk strengthening exercises. They help a lot with low back pain and just staying strong in general through our midsection. The first one is called the front plank. So for this one, you'll need to be on your bed, or if you're on the floor, you can put out a towel or a mat if you like. I've got my carpet, I feel fine here. So for this one, there's a couple ways you can do it. Your setup has your elbow directly underneath your shoulder to start, and then your feet are straight out back behind you. The plank itself is holding yourself on your elbows. The first component is going up onto your knees. So if I support myself here, you can see my tummy is off the ground. My eyes are looking straight down at the ground to keep my neck straight. And I'm just going to hold this and count to 30 seconds. If you're okay with this position and it's not challenging for you, you can move into a toe supported one, so your knees come off the ground. You're going to need to keep breathing and just hold this position again for 30 seconds. This one will get surprisingly hard, surprisingly fast. So feel free to start with what you can do. If you can't do the full 30 seconds, do whatever you can. Start with your knees. If you feel strong enough to move on to your toes at any point during this week, then go ahead and do that. The next exercise we're going to do is called the bird dog, also known as the Superman or Superwoman. So for this one, again, you'll be on the floor or on your bed. You're going to get into a position on your hands and knees. So in this position, you look like a table, flat across the top, and then you've got your arms and legs coming down. Eyes should be looking towards the floor. You're going to lift your opposite arm and leg, which means you're reaching with your right hand and then your left leg. Hold for a count of 2, and then come back down, and then switch to the other side. All you're trying to do is reach out through the fingers, out through the toes, and stay parallel to the floor. You don't have to try and swing up as high as you can. That's not part of the exercise. So it's a reach, relax, reach, relax. For this exercise, we call it the bridge. This one is on your back like you were going to do a sit-up. Your knees should be bent to about 90 degrees, and your feet are firmly on the bed or on the floor. To start the position, you make sure you have no pillow under your head. You're going to push with your feet, lift your hips up so that it's as straight as you can from your shoulders through your hips up to your knees. You hold it for a count of 5, and then you'll relax as you come back down to the floor. That would be 1 repetition. You're trying to do 10 of those. So, there's your workout for this week. You should be aiming to do about 10 repetitions for each exercise, except for the plank, which you're going to hold for 30 to 60 seconds, depending on how strong you feel. Aim to go through the workout at least 1 time through the whole list. We would call that 1 set as you go through the whole thing. So if you're new to exercise, aim for 1 time through. See how sore you are the next day. If you are sore, then stick with the 1 set through. If you're not sore, then you can try and go through the list of exercises twice in that same workout. That would be 2 sets. And if you exercise regularly or are physically active, then aim for 3 times through the list or 3 sets. That's kind of the gold standard for strength exercises. If you go through it once, then it's going to take you about 10 minutes. Twice will be about 20 minutes. And 3 times through or 3 sets in the workout will take you about 25 to 30 minutes. So the plan for this week, some kind of aerobic activity for between 10 to 30 minutes per day, whether that's walking, biking, or if you have an elliptical in your home, something like that. Medium pace, don't worry about working too hard. The goal is consistency. So between 10 to 30 minutes per day of that. 2 to 4 times per week of the strength exercises we covered here. And then you're going to choose whether you go through that list once, twice, or 3 times in each workout. And if you know any stretches or you have any physio exercises, then you can do those as part of the cool down after your activity each day. And that'll kind of help loosen you up. We're going to cover some stretches in future episodes so that you'll have a bit more knowledge that way too. So that's it for this week. I wish you all the best, and we'll see you next week.